From tired to thriving, from silence to song. With YDC, you belong. Let's start living, rise again. You are more than just a pain. Confident, bold, unashamed. Your discovery coach, remember the name. You're strong, you're seen, you're free to dream. YDC, 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 remember the name. Hey mama, you're more than enough. Hey mama, stand tall, you've given so much. You gave your all, now it's time to shine. You've been in the shadows, now step in the light. Rediscover your voice, take back your name. You're not just a mom, your power, your flame. From tired to thriving, from silence to song. With YDC, you belong. Let's start living.
Hey mamas, let's start living. And another Friday Live. Thank you, thank you, thank you for joining me. This is Debbie Echo. If you haven't met me or seen me before, my name is Debbie Echo, and I'm the founder of Your Discovery Coach. Thank you for joining us on another Friday Live. And today we'll be talking about, are you disappearing inside your own life? It's just a question. But let's see what it's all about. Thank you so much. How have you been? How has your week been? How's everything been where you are? Um, I let's just a little bit of background about your discovery coach is a space where is a safe space for women who feel invisible, who feel unseen, who feel unheard in their own lives, and they just need that. It's not a judgment space, right? We're not When you come in, we're not going to judge you because we're all on a journey, right? So it's just that space where you come in, you come home to yourself. That's what I'll say. You come home to yourself. You come home, you feel safe, you lay down that burden. Sometimes some of us carry so many burdens we don't know where to lay down, but you lay down that burden, you find out, your own emotional undercurrent, undertone that that rules your life, and you find relief for your soul. So welcome and welcome once again. So today I just want to ask you something really gently. Are you disappearing into your own life? Is that a question you'd like to answer? Just think about it. I'm not talking about living your life. I'm not talking about failing at your life. I'm not talking about running away from your life, but just disappearing little by little, small by small, just disappearing inside it. Because a lot of times disappearing looks very responsible. You can look mature, you can look like you're loving people or you're loving others. It just looks like you show care. It looks like, oh, I'm there for that person, I'm there for my family, I'm there for my friends. So very subtly, it can look like you're dependable. Every time everybody wants something, they know that if they dial your number, you can be depended on. You can, they just tell you, "Oh, please, there's something there, help us get it." You're on it because you're very dependable. Very subtly, it can look like strength. It can look like, I'm the one who, I'm carrying these things for everyone. I'm the one who, everybody needs. It may look like, you're being needed, but are you actually disappearing? Or are you presenting on the front of, I'm mature, I'm loving, I'm dependable. I have this strength. That's my strength. Hospitality. I know that hospitality is a strength for a lot of women because it's part of our nature to nurture. But there's a subtle line from, I'm a hospitable person and I'm actually disappearing. And let's just go on. And then a lot of times, because disappearance looks like maturity, it looks like dependability, it looks like strength, it looks like being loving, being caring, being, everything and all that. It's very hard to notice. It becomes really, really hard to notice. So you don't just wake up one morning and then you've disappeared. That's not what happens. It's quiet, small adjustments here and there, small compromises here and there, small it's fine moments. So let's give an example. You have your schedule for that day. Maybe say on Fridays. Fridays are my days where I'm just going to, do something for myself, a little self-care, pedicure, manicure, whatever, and somebody just calls you and says, okay, we need you, what's the first thing that you cancel? You cancel the things for yourself. That silent, just little things, little adjustments. Oh, this person can't appear by this thing cannot happen by this time, even though this is what I'll really be doing by this time. And then you cancel, you adjust, compromises, and you know it's justifiable. You know why? Because a lot of times we do even do this. This is a lot of times these things happen because we are moms, because we are it's our family. So it's very justifiable. You would argue with me that, okay, I need to be there, I need to do this, I need to do that. Those small and fine moments, or it's fine. Somebody asks you what's happening, okay, maybe your spouse asks you what's happening, so it's fine. But deep down that is not fine. And those are the subtle moments that disappearance happens. And that's why we don't notice. That's why, it's not just what you wake up one morning and you're not there anymore. But these things are happening. And then one day you realize you are present everywhere except within yourself. You're present in your children's school, you're present in your husband's life, you're present everywhere, you're present in the house, you're present. I mean, you will justify it. After all, if you're not present, in those spaces, where else can you be present? But really, really, within yourself, you start to realize that you can't recognize who you are anymore because things have happened so subtly. Things have happened so subtly. So let's look at what disappearing actually looks like. It's not dramatic. It's not one dramatic moment where, oh, I can't find Debbie anymore. I can't find myself anymore. No, that's not it. It's usually things like, saying yes before you check your energy. Somebody needs help somewhere. The school needs a volunteer, things like that. And then you've just said yes because after all, you need to be showing up in your children's school. And I agree. That's why I said it is justifiable. It is justifiable. It's something that is expected of you. But you keep saying yes. You haven't checked your energy. You haven't checked, can I actually do this? Can I actually be present? Do I really need to? Are there other ways I can show up without saying yes in this particular thing? You start, being the emotional manager of your house. And there's nothing wrong with it. Another thing again, is justifiable. If you're not the emotional manager, who will be the emotional manager? So these are the justifiable things. But then you have no one checking in on you. You have no one checking in on your own, emotions. You're making sure everyone is okay. So then you slowly disappear from your own life. You're solving problems before they become visible. So you're sat there, you're thinking when they come back from school, they need to do this, they need to do that, they need to do this. So even though the problems are not visible yet, you're brainstorming, you're troubleshooting for something that hasn't even happened. You choose peace over truth. Oh, let's just let it slide. I didn't like the way someone talked to me, for instance, and then you're like, let me just let it slide. So the person is not learning what is important to you. The person is not learning how being spoken to is important to you. The person just thinks that, oh, she's always fine. And then that's how resentment builds. A lot of times we, keep the peace, to keep the peace in the home. We're not able to express our own emotions, express how we feel. Yes, how we feel should not rule us. Yes, our own emotions should not rule us. But it doesn't also mean that you need to deny them. Because sometimes, a lot of times, we just need to teach people that, okay, this is a boundary that you need to keep. It doesn't matter if it's a mother-daughter relationship, husband-wife relationship. Boundaries really in boundaries need to be kept in healthy relationships. So you pass over the truth of how you really feel, of how you really, how you're really faring, just because you want to keep the peace. You want to look like the mom who has it all. I don't want it to be as if, I'm complaining about anything. I don't want it to be as if I'm nagging. I don't want to do and all of that. So you choose peace over truth. You adjust so often that you now forget your original shape. And that it happens to a lot of us. You adjust, you keep adjusting, Let me adjust my own schedule. Let me adjust my own gym time. Let me adjust my own meal plan, or something. Everything has to suit the other people around you. And again, I say it is justifiable, because if you don't do it, who will do it? But let's go on. It's justifiable, but you are able to list other people's needs, but are you able to speak your own needs? Oh, I need to have 1 hour to myself. Oh, I need to rest. Oh, I need to go out on my own. Just, watch the kids. Do something just for me. Because somehow along the line we were sold this narrative that to be a good mom you need to sacrifice everything. Somehow along the line we have been sold this narrative that to be a good wife you need to just be quiet. So yes, you may be nagging, but you're still quiet because you haven't really said the problem. You haven't really sat down to say what the problem is. But if I ask you one question, what do you really want for yourself this year? And you hesitate, then it means that you haven't really, really been able to name your own needs. It's okay to be needed, but are you known? Does your spouse know you? Do your children know you? It's okay to be needed, but the people you call your friends, do they know you? Or is it just on a I need you basis kind of relationship? So these are the things that happen. And then this disappearing slowly happens, slowly happens, slowly happens, slowly happens. Are you able to express yourself? Are you able to express yourself? Are you able to, what are the things you're suppressing just because there's a narrative that says a good mom, you're to be a good mom, you need to fit into this kind of boxes. You don't need to complain, you don't need to do this, you don't need to do that. Let's just, exist. We exist to take care of every other thing, but that's not true. So the thing is that you didn't lose yourself. What has happened is you deprioritized yourself. Let me say that again. You did not lose yourself, you just deprioritized yourself. You started becoming the backboner in your own life. So you deprioritize yourself. That's what happened. And that's what happens a lot of times. And that's what makes it different. And the good news is that this is reversible. It's not we're not, deprioritizing yourself can be fixed. It can be fixed. Now let's see how that happens, and let's break this down slowly and calmly. Disappearing often starts with being praised for, being the strong one, being the reliable one. When you're younger, and when you were a child, and then everybody had to depend on you. Everybody had to, especially a lot of times for firstborns, right? Because they tell you things like, oh, your younger ones are looking up to you. You need to behave yourself. You need to set a good example to your siblings and things like that. So it just becomes, one, it becomes it becomes a conditioning that I'm only going to be praised when I'm the good child, or when I'm the child that shows good examples to my siblings, when I'm the child that takes care of my siblings, when I'm the child that washes after my siblings, when I'm the child that takes care of everything. So it just depends. It may not be only that, but being praised for being, oh, good girl, good girl. So your brain, your subconscious starts to think, okay, I just need to become, remain that. I just need to appear as good. I just need to, be praised for being strong, be praised for being reliable, be praised for being mature, be praised for the one who understands. Have you heard that kind of, statement before? That girl doesn't give any troubles, or that child doesn't give any troubles. So you are loved just because you come across as understanding, you come across as peaceful, you come across as whatever it is that was prioritized when you were growing up. So you learned early that value is in how well you adjusted. So adjusting yourself becomes second nature. You're not even thinking about it. It doesn't happen bam. It's just a subtle adjustment. How can I adjust my schedule to fit around every other person? And again, I say it is justifiable, because if you don't do that, who will, right? But let's go on. Let's go on. So you became adaptable. You became, you know, you became, let me just make everybody happy. And it's not in the words, it's in the action. So you didn't necessarily just come and stand up and say, let me make everybody, but there's just something in your subconscious that tells you that, okay, we need to adjust the way things are run, and it has to be my own schedule, my own, me that has to suffer how things, I mean, whatever adjustments need to be made. But adaptability without boundaries now becomes in you are right in my address, man. Adaptability without boundaries becomes erosion. And that's when identity becomes eroded. So you have adapted so much, you've adapted so much that you don't recognize who you really are anymore. I was talking to somebody earlier today, and then I was saying that, I was saying something about, she was like, oh, before she will just say, okay, half term is coming next week. Let me just stay in my house. Let me not go anywhere and all that. But and for her, that was who she was. But she's finding herself as she's growing, as she's, discovering who she is, and as she's shedding off emotional weight and emotional burden, she realized that she actually enjoys going out. So that's the adaptation. You've adapted from childhood, you've adapted to something that is not really you. You've convinced, you've managed to convince yourself, for instance, I don't like children, or I don't like crying children. You've managed to convince yourself, I don't like going out. You've managed to convince yourself that, okay, I just need to be quiet. But is that who you really are? Some of you have dance in your body, you have play in your body, but you so conditioned yourself to say that, no, to look serious, I need to just, be straight. Am I saying that you should go and be unserious? No. But dance in the kitchen with your kids, play with your kids, because you've been so conditioned to, hear yourself, to hear, oh, you are the first, you need to show, you need to sit, you need to be serious. But there's nothing wrong with play. Oh, there's nothing wrong with it, because it actually relieves stress. So you've adapted, you've convinced yourself that, yes, I need to be this person. You've convinced yourself that you don't like certain things. I have managed to convince myself that I don't like vegetables, but I'm repenting. And I don't know if it comes from, well, I feel like it comes from the fact that I was flogged so much, for food. So I'm kind of adverse towards food. But it's a conditioning. Any mindset can be changed. Any subconscious can be worked on. It's reversible. So that's where we begin to disappear. That's where we start to say we are this type of person or that type of person. But is that really, really who you are? Is that really who you are? So the choice to disappear was not conscious. You chose to maintain harmony. You chose to hold things together. You chose to be have you heard people who say I'm low maintenance? Oh, you don't need to spend too much money on me. I'm not saying that, be extravagant. That's not what I'm saying. But I've heard it so much. Oh, this person is low maintenance. She'll be a good wife. I'm like, how did we even get here? Just hush it down. Lower your voice. Whatever he says, say yes. There's nothing wrong with submission. I would always be for submission. I will submit to my husband. I submit to my husband. But what does low maintenance really mean? That you are erased, that your feelings are erased, that your emotions are erased, that your preferences are erased. A healthy relationship, as I said, will recognize that it's a give and take. I don't always have to like what you like. You don't always have to like what I like, but I can respect what you like and you can respect what I like, and both can coexist. But sometimes you find yourself disappearing, and even what you like, you put it in the back burner. It's a subtle conditioning that has happened over the years. It's a subtle conditioning. Be low maintenance. Don't ask for too much. Don't be too much. Don't, don't ask for what you really want. Don't ask for what you really want. So that happens, and then slowly You stop being visible to yourself. You stop. If I ask you, right, what are the things that make you tick? What are the things that make you happy? Can you, would you, when last did you take yourself out? When last did you, just relax? When last did you have a date with yourself? If I ask you those questions, what would be the answer? You stop being visible to yourself. I had to start teaching my children when I need rest time. You are not, I'm not, I am your mom. I am always available, but I also need a break and appreciate it. And appreciate it. Because the narrative of self-sacrifice, I need to sacrifice myself for me, for my family to be okay, for myself to be okay, for my children to be okay. It's a false narrative, because the honest truth is that you can't pour from an empty stomach. I mean, from an empty vessel, or from an empty self. You can't pour from that. So what are the what is your availability pattern? I want you to consider this very well. What's your availability pattern? You may not be overwhelmed. That might not really be, we love to use the word I'm overwhelmed, but the thing is you may not really be overwhelmed. What may be happening to you right now is that you're over availability. Everybody has access to you, everything has access to you, every conversation has access to you. So you're over available. You are emotionally available to everyone's feelings. You are mentally available to everyone's problem. Every time your friends have problem, once they have problem, now is your number. Why? I had to stop being that friend. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm not trying not to care for your problems, but I'm not also your dump, because that's what happens when they know that, okay, this person is a good listener. She listens. She's an empathic listener. But something happens, and then next thing you're dialing the number. Why are you dialing my number all the time? Mentally available to everyone's problem. Am I saying that don't be there for your friends? No, I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that you can't be 100% all the time mentally available for even your family problems. It will drain you. Yesterday I had a phone call, and I was drained. It was draining. Family problems that I'm too young to be carrying, family problems that existed before I was born. Come on, guys. So sort it out. You're adults. Family problems that don't want to go away. They don't want to go for counseling. They don't want to go for, they don't want to seek better ways of doing things. And then you are calling me, and it was very early in the morning, and I was like, okay, lessons learned, I added it to numbers not to pick at this certain time of the day, because it's draining. You're mentally available to everyone's problems, time available to everyone's requests. So that's why the overwhelm comes, because there's not really overwhelm, it's just availability. I remember my dad used to be very upset with my mom when I was growing up, because she was always helping someone, always, like she was always helping someone, always helping someone. And I was like, how can you be helping everybody like this? You don't sit down at home. And for her, that's the sense of being needed was probably what. And now that I'm an adult and I can see, foresight, hindsight, sorry, I feel like that sense of being needed, just gives her that adrenaline. Somebody has given birth. Oh, I need to go and help the person back the baby. Somebody is doing party. Oh, I need to help them go and turn amala. Things like that every time. My dad used to he used to hate it. He used to hate it. But then I didn't understand. I just thought my mom was being nice to the whole neighborhood. But you see, she will come back home, and then she's stressed over availability. If everyone has access to you, who has access to you as you? Who are you able to? How are you? Do you have access to yourself? The way you've given yourself out to everything and everyone, do you have access to yourself like that? Do you have access to yourself like that? Are you available to your own self? Sit down with yourself, have a board meeting with yourself, find out what makes you happy. Even though it's not about your happiness really, but what I'm trying to say is just be there, be there, be aware of your own emotions. Over availability feels like kindness a lot of times, But long term, it becomes self erasure. And that's where we start to ask questions like, are you actually disappearing from your own life? Because availability feels like kindness. It feels like you're being kind to everyone. It feels like, you're everyone's friend. But long term, it becomes self erasure. And that's what happens, and it happens slowly, so slowly that you begin to normalize it. It starts to become normal. You start to normalize it. Happens so slowly. So I want you to think about this quietly as I round off. When was the last time you made a decision that was not influenced by someone else's comfort? When was the last time that you made a decision that was not influenced by someone else's comfort? When was the last time you chose something simply because you wanted it? When was the last time that you chose something not because it was practical, not because it was efficient, not because it benefited someone else, but because you just wanted it? Because it felt aligned to your becoming, it felt aligned to you, it felt aligned to your growing. When was the last time? When was the last time you pursued something that is not because of other people? You pursued it because that's what you feel like. You had a sense that this is your purpose, this is what you're supposed to be doing. If everyone else was okay, who would you be? If nobody needed you, who would you be? If your children stopped needing you, they could do everything that they're calling mommy, mommy, mommy for themselves, who would you be? If any stop people stopped, calling you for parties, for engagements, for family problems, blah 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 blah, who would you be? Who are you really? What would you pursue? And how would you speak? How would you speak? So disappearing does not mean that you are weak. That's not what we are saying. It comes across as kindness, yes, but it doesn't mean that people are taking the mickey, or people are taking the piece at you. No, that's not what we're saying. It doesn't mean that you're weak. It just means that you're highly adaptive. So you are able to adapt very easily to other people's needs, and that's not a sense of weakness. It just means that you have learned how to survive well. We talked about childhood and all that. It just means you've learned how to survive well. So you've learned how to read rooms, read emotions, know who needs what, because you were very, very vigilant. You needed to see. It's the same way our children are now watching us, right? So your child walks into the room and says, Mommy, are you angry? I couldn't ask my mom those questions, but my children can ask me. And I'm like, they are actually reading your face, reading the room, reading your reactions. Is this a good time to ask mommy for sweets? Is it a good time to ask mommy for biscuits? They are reading you. That's how children are. So you have read your emotional environment so much that you become so adaptive that because it was necessary for you to survive. If you didn't read the room well, you could have gotten a slap from behind, not from the front. Because behind, how when the slap comes from the behind, you are not expecting it. When it comes from front, you can actually dodge, but when it comes from behind, you're not expecting it. So you have learned that, okay, to survive, I need to be adaptive. If mommy is angry, I need to go and sit down in one corner and behave myself. It's just a survival pattern. But survival is not the same as visibility. You can be devoted and still be visible. You can be loving and still expressed. And that's why I said, it's justifiable what you're doing, but you can actually love your children without disappearing your own needs. So, for instance, let's use holidays as an example. Everybody wants to go somewhere. We take it in turns. This year we will do what our mommy wants. Next year we do what daddy wants. Next year we do what firstborn wants. Next year we do what secondborn wants. Then they begin to learn that the world does not revolve around them. Everybody has a preference, and we're not. I'm not going to relegate my preference just because I want to make everybody happy. They also need to learn to make me happy in it, as they say, right? So you can be loving and you can still be expressed. You can still express yourself, express your feeling, express your emotions, express who you are. You can be devoted and you can still be visible. You can be responsible and you can still be prioritized as a mom. Not all the time, you deprioritizing yourself. You can be responsible and still prioritize. You don't need to burn your life down. And that's another narrative that a lot of us learned. To be a good mom, you need to be self sacrificial. After all, I gave up everything for you. But when your children see you thrive, when your children see you soar, when your children see you, you're living a happy life. A lot of times when we suppress who we really are, we become resentful, we become, sharp tongued, you become overwhelmed, you become stressed. A lot of times that's what happens. A lot of times that's what happens. And that doesn't also bring about the emotional climate that a child can thrive in. So prioritize yourself, dear mama. There's nothing wrong with it. You just need to find yourself in it again. You don't need to burn yourself down, your life down. You just need to find yourself. Find the things that make you happy. Find the things that makes you happy. And that doesn't also happen through rebellion. So I'm not doing again. No, 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 no. It's not through rebellion. It's not through rebellion. It happens through awareness. Awareness is your first step. Talk about the other steps in our programs, but awareness is your first steps. So as I close now, just one brief question. Are you disappearing inside your own life? Are you disappearing inside your own life and quietly calling it strength? Because I don't talk. I've learned to endure. I've learned to cope. I've learned to, take it as it is. I've learned to accept my man the way he is. I've learned to, whatever it is, I've learned to take my relationships the way I've learned to take my friends the way they are. Oh, it's okay. So you're quietly disappearing. And if this resonated with you, if this 30 minutes, web live resonated with you, I want you to share this message, share this link, because there are women who are out there who are quietly disappearing, and they are calling it strength. They think they're being good, not being able to say no to their kids, no boundaries. Oh, the kid wants this, the kid wants that, and then you're happily giving them everything. That's the quiet disappearance. And next week, we're going to be taking this matter a little bit deeper, because we're going to be going again next week, Friday. And we're going to be looking at, why becoming invisible, why becoming visible again can feel uncomfortable. Sometimes it can even feel wrong. And why guilt shows up when you start choosing yourself. So as you start choosing yourself, you start to feel like, oh, I'm not doing enough for my family. I'm not doing enough for this, da, 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 da. But now I just want you to notice as we close, notice, pause, be aware. Where in your life are you disappearing where in your life are you disappearing? Where have you, yes, motherhood changes you, but it doesn't mean that you need to disappear. Yes, motherhood is demanding from you, but it doesn't also mean that you need to disappear. Doesn't mean you need to disappear. So I'll see you next week, Friday. Thank you for joining me on this live, and I don't take your time for granted. Till next week, Friday, we'll continue this topic and have an amazing weekend. Thank you.